Moving on to the next session, which is a fireside chat on the topic cutting edge innovation from India for the world. Our speaker for this session is Rajesh Jejurikar, Executive Director, Auto and Farm Sectors, Mahindra Group. A brief introduction. Rajesh is the Executive Director of the Auto and Farm Sectors at Mahindra Group, like I just mentioned, and the man responsible for marvel of products coming out of the Mahindra stable. He is a director on the board of Mahindra and Mahindra Limited and serves on the boards of several Mahindra Group companies in India as well as overseas. And chairing the session is Karthikeyan Natarajan, Executive Director and COO Cyient. Karthikeyan joined Cyient in March 2020 as the President and Chief Operating Officer. In this role, he is responsible for global business operations, including sales, delivery, and business development. His focus areas include strengthening the services business, building strong solutions capabilities with keen attention to digital transformation, and consolidating our design-led manufacturing expertise. It's a pleasure to have you both join us this morning. Over to you, Karthik.
Good day, everyone. I'm really excited to be part of this panel session. Thank you, Justine, for the introduction. And here with me, Rajesh Jejurikar, who's an Executive Director for Automotive and Farm Equipment for Mahindra. And as all of you know, Mahindra has been doing a phenomenal job for many decades. And as recent as last quarter, they announced their results. And what a stellar performance. Congratulations, Rajesh, for taking the auto business to grow by 67% year on year and profits at 8.7x year on year with your order backlog of $5 billion, some tremendous success on both Scorpio N as well as on XUV 700. Just wanting to start off with your opening remarks. What has got you here?
Karthik, thank you so much firstly for having me on this panel. It's a panel which I'm not used to being on, but given the way the automotive business is changing and evolving from a customer standpoint, where we all know that tech and cars are going to be very much closer to each other than ever in the past. I believe this is a very opportune moment for us to discuss cars, designs, technology, the Nasscom panel. So thank you very much for having me here. We've had a good run in the last couple of years on the auto side. And I'll just take a couple of minutes to talk about some of that. We have now come over the last 9 months to being the number one brand in the SUV space by revenue market share. SUVs in India are now 50% of the total passenger vehicle market. So SUV is a very big chunk of the market. We've seen substantial growth, and in the course of last year, we clocked a revenue in our auto business of $4.5 billion. And in the current quarter, which is the one you just referred to, we did a revenue of $1.5 billion, which is doubling of the revenues. We've seen a very strong momentum on our brands, and 3 products in the last 2 years have got a phenomenal customer response. One is called the Thar, the second is the XUV 700, and more recently the Scorpio N. But the 2 or 3 other ones which are doing as well are the XUV 300, which is a 4-meter size vehicle, and the Bolero Neo, which is also a 4-meter size vehicle. So really, strong play in the 4-meter segment and a very strong play now with the Scorpio N and the XUV 700, the larger size segments. We also strengthened our brand power quite significantly in our internal brand tracks done from external agency. We've seen ourselves move up from number 4 position to being number 1 in brand power. So, I'm now having done a bit of an opening, which you gave me to talk about some of the successes that we've had. Let me talk a little about what has enabled this. 3 very strong products. They've made a significant leap by way of the technology offering, refinement. And what really has hit the sweet spot is that we've been able to bring these products to the market at a very, very good competitive price. And that's what's redefined the space. And that's the reason why in a product like XUV 700, even though we're quoting a waiting period of 18 to 22 months, we're still getting 9,000 plus new bookings every month, quoting a period of 18 to 22 months. And that's significantly higher than our current production rate of 6,000 a month. So that gives you a sense of, when a product is able to hit the sweet spot with the right offering, right technology, uh, relevant innovation, customers are willing to wait because the confluence, if I may say so, of technology, price, and design style have all come together very neatly to create a very, very interesting proposition for customers. Karthik, back to you.
No, thanks, Rakesh. It's really exciting to know that there is a waiting time of 18, 24 months, and it only reminds me of maybe early 80s or late 80s when people used to wait for some of the products of Bajaj, and that reminds me of that. And moving on, and I think for the interest of the audience, and they would really like to know how do you get to number one market share in SUV, which I assume is probably the most profitable pool is in SUV. And how do you really think about your R&D and innovation? You talked about style, design, technology, which includes the safety as well as how do you increase the customer or consumer attractiveness? And how do you really bring the fusion of all of them to inspire the consumers to even wait for 18, 24 months? Can you share your story around this?
Yeah, Karthik. I'm going to break up your question into two parts. And the first is around the who we are. And the second is around the innovation technology roadmap kind of thing. So the first, for those of you who don't know Mahindra as well, we have been for decades an SUV player. We in a way pioneered the SUV market in India while it was still very small. So the brand has a DNA which is very connected to a certain kind of vehicles. A couple of years back, we said, let's convert this into a purpose statement. And this purpose was about creating authentic SUVs with adventure ready capability. Now, in a way, when we make a statement about who we want to be or who we are, we start also starting to define boundary conditions about what our product offering should be. What are the areas we want to over deliver in, and what are the areas we are not worried about over delivering in? We want to be competitive with everything else. One very important part, hence, is that DNA of an authentic SUV. There are multiple ways to play in the SUV market, and we've realized that our right to win in SUVs is going to come out of a very clear proposition and a target customer groups. We are focusing on those customers who are looking for a certain kind of presence and a certain design language. A new design chief, Pratap Bose, has in a way called that heartcore design. So it's design which comes to you from the heart, but it represents what the brand is about. It represents a very strong presence, on-road presence, and a very breakthrough design thinking. So one part of the strategy really has been to say, okay, we are a focused brand now. Our focus is on creating adventure-ready, authentic, sustainable SUVs. We've then defined for each 6 key parameters that we will deliver, and hence all the product focus goes around that clarity. The reason I'm bringing this out is a very important part of technology and innovation is having clarity around which segments you want to address, so that innovation becomes relevant to the needs and expectations and aspirations of that target group. I want to talk a couple of points around the tech story, so to say. When we were talking around launching, as we got into the pre-build launch for XUV 700 last year, this was launched 15th August last year. We said that, this product, even though it's an SUV, we will pre-sell it on the concept of selling it inside out. And hence the whole initial lot of teasers that we ran leading into the launch were marketing the product inside out. Now, conventionally, that's not the way you market an SUV. You market an SUV based on its external appearance and so on and so forth, the presence as I just spoke about earlier. But we wanted to create a strong statement about the technology leap that man. And the technology leap had this very, very amazing big screen integrating the infotainment and the cluster. And we branded that concept at Renox, along with all the tech features that came. Visually, you could see the car through the panoramic sunroof and see the car on the inside. So we had tech, but we made that tech very relevant and aspirational. Later on, we realized that that became a key part of the reason why. Now, in a country like India, you would think that customers really would not want a feature offering or a tech offering like ADAS. But as we discovered, a large chunk of the bookings that we got, and we got over 100,000 of them, came in for the highest end version. So we had two series, the MX series, which was very competitive and very good for the price at which it was offered. And then we had the AX series, and the AX series had an AX3, 5, 7, and an X7L. 95% of the bookings came on the AX series, which came with the entertainment and the smart core technology and the big screen. And more than 65-70% of the bookings came on the AX7 and AX7L, which came with ADAS, Sony 3D surround system, so on. What does this signal? This signals that if you package technology well, you package innovation well, the market will gravitate towards that. And this, to be honest, took us by surprise as well. And we built that input into the Scorpio N launch, where we've actually produced the full initial lot on the highest end version. So really, the point I'm making is, if we package technology well and we price it well, it has a huge customer demand.
No, thanks, Rajesh. Fascinating to hear that. And how do you really create the right balance between the technology and consumer interest? And just curious on the next question. How do you really sustain the innovation? How do you really keep the competitive edge? The importance of ecosystem and partnerships. How do you see all this evolving for Mahindra over the next decade?
Yeah, Karthik. So, for an Indian company like ours, the innovation ecosystem becomes extremely important. We are a company which has to leverage partnerships. Partnerships with suppliers, especially, is a very, very important component of how we drive innovation. Uh, and that's what we've done in several of our products. I also want to, lead this conversation into the whole new non-electric strategy that we unveiled on the 15th of August this year, where we've spoken about creating a platform, a one electric skateboard. It's the lightest in its category, called In. And I'm going to take a minute, if you don't mind, on just saying why we named it. It's an Indian platform for global customers. So In and Glow. In also represents innovation. Glow represents the flow of energy and the glow that will create for our customers. We brand the HMI interfaces A Glow. That's how the screen will talk. So, which is creating a personalized branding opportunity. But while we've in a manner of speaking, owning the platform and the tech and the branding around the platform and the human machine interface, which is critical to your brand DNA, we believe that a partnership around key elements of the EV kit or the EV powertrain, as they may be called, becomes crucial to success. And hence, we forged a partnership with a very leading player in the EV space, Volkswagen. They're amongst the largest investors in that space, to bring in their battery and their motor technologies and their BMS into our InGlow platform. So our InGlow platform is intrinsically ours, but it borrows on and partners with Volkswagen's MEB platform. And we bring in components from the MEB platform as a part of InGlow to create something which becomes very strong from an Indian context, but also appeals to global customers, and also allows us to keep upgrading our technology using the strengths of a partnership. So really, I think, we've got to think of how we use expertise of different players, be they consulting firms or a company like Qualcomm, where we've significantly improved our compute power with time. So, if I were to go back in time, we were at a 1.5 GB RAM of power in our earlier products. When we came to XUV 700, we moved to 6 GB compute power. As we are talking now about the Born Electric portfolio, we are preparing for 30 GB of power. Right? So that's the quantum leap that we are making in technology, because we believe that new gen products, and that's the reason I said, Nasscom is really the most appropriate opportunity to talk about the future of automobiles, because there's so much of tech that's coming into products. If you want to think about software as a service, revenue streams coming out of software enabled cars, then we've got to build compute power up front. And as we think about the future of electric vehicles, even in Indian customers, we believe that monetizing multiple facets of features and product offerings will be a very crucial part of success.
Yeah, no, I think it's fascinating to see how the electric vehicle teaser from Mahindra looks so exciting. And some of them reminds me of the Cybertruck, or maybe this is going to capture the imagination of the Indian consumers. And like what Volkswagen tried to do in terms of trying to own the complete vertical integration, going as low as getting into the minerals that is going to get into the battery technologies. And how much of it do you think Mahindra would be able to control the entire stack? And also, how do you see this playing out in the market? Like the semiconductors that has been seen a shortage in the last few years. Are you likely to see some new minerals towards the electric vehicles would create a shortage in the next 5 to 10 years? So how do you make the whole stack to be controlled from Mahindra standpoint, Rajesh?
Yeah, so Karthik, you are absolutely right. The future of electric is going to be around managing supply chains, and supply chains are going to see shortages as we move into the future. And hence, having a strong, fully integrated supply chain access will be a key success factor. And that's one of the areas where we see value coming out of the Volkswagen Association, because Volkswagen is making the effort to go back and manage the vertical supply chains going into the mining area for minerals, like you rightly pointed out. And we believe that that is what will improve our efficacy, because we have a partner who is going to be doing all of that. And it goes beyond hence just a supplier-buyer selling relationship.
Okay. And the last question, moving on to the future of automotive, I think whether it is called as sustainable mobility or it is going to be tech-enabled mobility. And where do you see the profit pool shifting to? Are you seeing that the services business is likely to grow to 30-35% of the revenue? And like, for example, the recent one of BMW trying to charge for seat heating. And how do you really see this industry transforming? And what is your right to win and sustain your number one positions in this segment for the next decade?
Yeah, Karthik, you make a great point. And in the conventional vehicles, we all know that workshop service revenues is a critical part of the business viability model, especially for dealerships. Vehicles do have to go in for a certain level of service frequency. They have much higher number of parts than electric vehicles have. So as we transition from an era of ICE to EVs, that service revenue at the dealership is going to go down quite significantly. What that has to be replaced with, if I may use that word, is alternate, newer revenue streams. And software will hence play a very important role in enabling additional revenue streams and hence an additional profit pool or a different profit pool. The reason I'm, played out the example of the very high compute power that we're going to build into our vehicles is for exactly this reason. We believe that there is a huge opportunity to monetize, and we must build compute power into our products, and that in a way sets us up for a right to win. I think the real benefit of right to win is how you convert an idea into a customer relevant proposition. In the XUV 700, we, as a part of our what we call snack videos, did a very interesting set of communication, but one of them was around drowsiness, detecting drowsiness. And we had this very simple communication which had, the voice of your loved ones telling you or alerting you you're getting drowsy. Now, you converted a tech feature into a very consumer relevant offering. The monetization of technology or software is going to come out of series of customer ideas. Uh, and how do you make it valuable for a customer to want to pay for things? Maybe on a special occasion or for a specific usage need. So on the one hand, you will have the compute power which enable you to do that, but the real innovation opportunity is going to come out of thinking customer, which is design thinking as is a word commonly used, but really inciting around what will customers really value and building stories and narratives which allows those concepts and values to get converted into propositions which can be monetized. And that's, I think, a far more important part of the right to win. And the right to win, I think, is going to be hence about how you leverage uh, innovation to get the best out of the technology back.
Thank you so much, Rajesh, as the chair of Nasscom ER&D Council and on behalf of Nasscom. And we are delighted to have you as part of this panel and wish you good luck and continue to innovate and make Mahindra to be the best in the country again. Thank you so much for your time.
Karthik, pleasure to be here with you all. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Rajesh and Karthik, for that very engaging conversation.